all this hallway and the bedrooms are going to get hardwood flooring installed by a company, and part of the quote was several $100s to get the railing taken out and then put back in on top of the hardwood flooring. And I said, well, I can just fit the hardwood flooring around the railing, so I'm doing that before the installers come. The problem with doing it that way is if you look at it from the top, any sort of gaps become very noticeable, so I have to work very precisely. Fortunately, this is very close to my shop, so I just wheeled my bandsaw over here. Needs adjustment. So I still need to tweak for the depth of these posts, or maybe I can bang one of these off to the side a little bit. I cut all these notches to the same depth, and now these don't exactly form a straight line because the posts themselves are not perfectly lined up. So they're too stuck. I can't move the posts, so I just made sure all the boards are perfectly straight lined up with this long one here. And now I just need to mark how to adjust the notches, and I'll just use the pencil itself as an offset. I've already marked the lateral positions of the notches here just with a square like this. I used a spacer that's the thickness of one of these boards to offset it from the boards here, and that means I need to offset the depth of the notch by the same amount, so I'm just using another scrap. The joists in this house run this way, which means all the boards have to run this way, except for the one where I'm trimming it up here. And I've got two long ones laid out here, plus another one temporarily, just to keep them straight. And this time I'm going to mark them with a spacer to begin with, so I won't have to tweak the position afterwards. The other thing I did is I laid out some extra boards this way so that the end of this one lines up with the first board that's going to come like this. I made some of the perpendicular cuts on the longer pieces with a table saw. That worked well, but it was a bit more awkward lining things up. Pieces all cut, now I just need to make a nice edge for them. This is a piece I cut that goes against the spindles, and it's going to overhang the edge like that. And I need to put some kind of round on here, and then there's going to be another piece of trim that goes underneath like so. Now I need to put some kind of bullnose profile on the outside edge here, and for that I'll use this 3/8 inch roundover bit. Another piece of wood is going to attach to the trim on the bottom like this, but unfortunately I don't have a flat surface to attach it to here. So I'm going to cut out a square channel with a rotor bit right about here. With a big square groove, this piece of trim which I just made fits in here, and I can adjust it to fit wherever the wall ends up, and I think that'll look pretty decent. The flooring guy is supposed to show up today, and I was thinking it would be cool if this hallway had all boards across without any joints in it. So I've been searching for boards of just the right length that don't need any cutting. So I've been opening up a whole lot of the bundles of wood, and I've been sorting some of these by length. These are the ones that are about the right length, and then I realized with all these different lengths, I started sorting them by length, and it should be possible to fit all the boards without cutting anything. I'm sure the flooring guy will really appreciate my optimization. Not! So the flooring guys were here and they did a really excellent job laying this floor. And not surprisingly, they weren't into optimizing to reduce the number of cuts so much. And even for this area here, they pointed out if that was all straight pieces with no joints in them, that would look a little bit odd compared to the other rooms and such. So half the pieces here are straight through, and the other half I picked out ones that added just to the right length. I ended up making all of the thresholds and transitions where the wood floor joins into another floor, like here to the vinyl floor, and here, or where it joins to the old floor, because they would have billed extra for that, so I figured I might as well do that myself. They also asked, why aren't you laying this floor yourself? And I think they meant it in a non-cynical way. Now the way one of these floors goes down is you put down the board, and then using a flooring nailer, you put a nail right in here into the tongue, and then the next board goes against that, which hides the nail, and then again another nail in here, and so on. Now that all works fine as long as you're always working in the same direction, but you can't do a whole floor like that sometimes because, for instance, as you come into this room, you're going this way, but you also have to get into the closet, and then you have to go in the opposite direction. So having worked this way, as you come into a room, you then have to potentially go backwards like this. And you could try putting the nail into the groove like that, but what would happen is this part just breaks off and you just don't have a whole lot of hold. So what they do instead is they reverse the boards, which means now you have a groove against groove, and so what they do there is they make a little extra piece that goes in here, glue that in, and then nail from this direction, and then they can just go on like that. What if you had to go tongue against tongue? But that never happens because you're always working this way, adding on the tongue side, and the only time you have to reverse is if you have to come back. So basically you're going this way and then like this, which means anytime you reverse, you're going groove against groove. The only thing left to be done here is to add this trim here, and I'm just going to glue that in place. And here it is all done. I think that came out okay.